Hello, 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 and welcome back to another exciting episode of Nothing Zilch Nada. We're your hosts, Xavier Dean.
Jacob Green.
All right, and with 3 episodes left, I figured this week we would be talking about something a little more personal for the two of us, and that is our Christmas traditions. As you may know, Christmas will be next week, or at least next week, Christmas Eve, based on based on when we release this. I think we have another week and a half from recording before we have it. So I figured we would talk about our Christmas traditions today so that we can leave some room for Jake's exciting uh topic the week after, which we've already been starting preparations for.
Yep.
Yep. So,
But this
uh,
one is also this one's also pretty good, and I'm glad that you're picking this one.
hmm Like I said, I just want to think ahead and I'm like, hey, this is close to Christmas. Might as well go with some traditions. Either we try to do every year or we have just recently started. Although I think mine that are recently started are just continuations of what we've been doing, just in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, how do we want to do this? Do we want to just go one tradition at a time, alternating, or do we want to try to have it where one of us goes, try to get as much as possible, and then the other one?
I say we alternate. Why don't you start first?
All right, so I'm gonna start off with something that my entire family does. So every year at my house, my family has this big Christmas party where we
Mm-hmm.
invite, like, my grandparents are invited, my aunt and uncle, who I was gracious enough to live with when I was at school, they'll come, as well as my cousin and his wife. We have a lot of really close family friends, which in my mind are just friends that are basically family. They're they usually come by. It's nothing too big. It's just like a family get together. We eat,
Mm-hmm.
we talk, we exchange gifts. That's pretty much it. I know preparations for that. We usually clean the house the week before, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think the night and the day, or the night before and the day of, is when we start making the food. But no, it is something that's really fun. It's something that connects everyone. In more recent years, my grandparents on my father's side, the ones that gave me the mic and the ones that comment on all our videos, they haven't been able to make it, but that's because they live in Tennessee, and the drive from here to Tennessee isn't always the easiest, especially in the middle of the winter. So, my first tradition, yearly Christmas party.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So I'll just say some of the earliest Christmas traditions that I've experienced growing up because I had two sets of grandparents when I was alive, at least for a good 10 years of my life, somewhere around that range. Although some of my grandparents have lived longer than others, I have a grandma that's still alive. She just turned 90 this year. Um, but uh, But we would always, because they still lived in our hometown that we live in Streeter, Illinois, I got to visit them almost every Sunday. Usually, um, it would be my dad's parents that we visit first, and then later on in the day, it would be my mom's parents. Um, but in terms of like Christmas traditions, so we would usually have what I'll call the Green family, my dad's side of the family, their Christmas party first, and it was usually held on Christmas Eve. It was kind of a smaller get together because it's a smaller house, but it was always a ton of fun. Um, And one of the things I would remember us doing, besides exchanging gifts, is my grandma would read Irish Christmas stories, which I need to talk to my dad to see what exactly those were, because I don't
Mhm.
remember the exact stories. But because um I've mentioned this before, but I'm Catholic. I've grown up in a Catholic family. But the same goes for both sets of my grandparents. And my grandma, especially, was very Catholic as well. But the Irish Christmas story that she would read was based around, the Nativity and Jesus Christ being born, because that is the true meaning of Christmas, and I will not hear anything say otherwise. Um, but one of the things I do remember her doing um, is she had this green wig, and I literally picture this. You know the Wendy's mascot
Yes.
with the red hair?
Yep.
Just imagine that, but her hair is green.
Nice.
Pigtails and everything. So she would wear that as she was like reading the story. It was super funny. She would also wear that for I think St. Patrick's Day too.
Okay.
But yeah, those are always fun. It kind of makes me nostalgic for those memories a little bit because she lived in a much smaller house compared to like the house that I grew up in, and even my other grandparents' house, which is like a little bit bigger. But it makes me nostalgic for those times. So
All
I'll
right.
talk about my mom's side of the family after you talk about your next thing.
All right. So I guess going off of family. So the way our Christmases used to go is Christmas Eve, we would open gifts,
Mhm.
just in the household. So my parents and my siblings, we would all open gifts the night before. And then Christmas Day, we would go to both sets of grandparents. We would go to my grandparents that live here in Streeter in the morning, and then we would go to my other grandparents closer to the afternoon, evening,
Mhm.
and depending on how roads were, we may stay for longer than the day. But again, with them moving, we now just stick with opening gifts Christmas Eve and then Christmas morning at my grandparents', which includes a little lunch
Mhm.
at my grandparents' house, the ones that live in Streeter. And this is was engraved in my mind every time. It's
Mhm.
we'll go in, they've got two couches out, so we'll each pick a seat. Uh on the TV there's just a marathon, but it's a Christmas story. So that's playing on repeat. That's like a key thing. I
Mhm.
it's not Christmas without a Christmas story in my mind. And so every year, my sister, my uncle, my mom, and I, all four of us would pass out the gifts. And we would
Mhm.
kind of circle around to each person opening gifts. So it's just so that it's not like everyone's wrapping and trying to say, or unwrapping and trying to say thank you to everyone else at the same time. It's one person opens, we get to see their gift, and they say thank you to whoever got the gift. And then
Mhm.
usually after that, we've got like a little lunch thing going on. If there's any games, we play the games. If there's any Legos, because that's where I
Mhm.
tend to get a lot of my Legos. My sister and I would start building ours. But yeah, I think the only other tradition there. Well, I'm gonna save that tradition for closer to the end, just because it's a small tradition and it tends to go more during the month of December rather than just Christmas.
All right. Um, so my mom's side of the family. So my mom's side of family, their Christmas was much bigger just because We had a lot more people participating. Um, and even I had a lot of cousins that still lived in Streeter during that time. But because like my mom is the second oldest of her three sisters. She's got an older sister and then two younger sisters, and all of them have kids.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of cousins. That combined with the cousins I already had from my dad's side of the family. Um, and that has, I'll talk about like the Christmas parties that my family started because it essentially evolved out of that family. That Benner Christmas party because it includes a lot of the same family members through that. Um, it's just called the Green Christmas Party now because for obvious reasons. But it was much bigger. I just remember just hanging around with my cousins as well as like exchanging gifts. One of the things, and we still do this to this day, but it was specifically done uh, through that Christmas party, was we would eat palaki. Um, are you familiar with palaki?
Um, Possibly.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain it anyway because
Oh,
maybe most of our audience members don't know. So,
all right.
if you've ever taken communion at a church and you see the hosts, it's basically like thin, not bread necessarily, but like it's not even that like starchy either. It's kind of like it's lighter. It's lighter and it's thinner and it's a small white disc.
It's kind of like edible, I was gonna say edible paper, but it's not. It's like a small wafer kind of.
Yeah, that probably be the best description for it. It's not exactly like a traditional wafer, but it's close to that.
Mhm.
Now imagine that, but it's shaped like a rectangle. It's a little bit bigger, and it has images of like uh scenes based around the nativity. Um, that is basically, well, not basically, but that is essentially what Palaki is, and it's German tradition because much like how my dad is more from the Slovak and the Irish side of the family. My mom was also Slovak, but she also had more of the German side. So we also have some Germanic traditions as well, which actually one of these I will talk about later. But in terms of that Christmas party, I just remember spending time with my cousins, exchanging gifts. We play games with each other. It was all just a ton of fun. Something that, again, just nostalgic for those times because it was just all huge fun and it was just a great old time.
Mm, all right. So going back to me, I know I probably should have started it the opposite way, but I guess I'm starting Christmas and going backwards. So Christmas Eve, like I said, we usually open all of our presents there, just so that my brother's happy, and it makes it makes the flow on Christmas Day go by a lot better. So now the one big thing is in our household we believed in Santa Claus, so it's, well, how do we explain the presents here, but we've been here all day? So my family started this tradition where every year we would go Christmas Eve, my sister, my brother, and I, we would pile into the car in pajamas. My parents would bring the presents down, put them under the tree, and after they're done, we'd all get in the car and uh we would drive around town and look at all the Christmas lights. As time went on, my sister and I were told the truth, but we still do that tradition because it makes it a lot easier to just follow the routine than not.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to remember how long ago. I want to say 2020, maybe 2019, instead of driving around town, we would instead take a trip to the LaSalle, Peru area. There is a place called Rotary Park, which,
Hmm.
you know, every year from about Thanksgiving to a little after Christmas, they set up this big Christmas lights display that you can go
Yeah,
drive
I've
through.
been to I've been to one of those one year. Those are really cool.
Yeah, well, they've been doing this for quite a while, but it has gotten so big at this point that the drive there and driving through it all and going back,
Hmm.
like Peru is about 20-30 minutes from where we live, depending on or which road you take. Okay, maybe closer to 30 to 20, but 30 minutes.
Hmm.
So it would be an hour there and back, and you're having another hour just driving through, looking at the lights. And it's
Hmm.
not even like you're stopping at each of the lights for however long. Your car is, for the most part, consistently driving through as you're looking at the lights, and they're on both sides, so you're looking back
Hmm.
and forth. And there's a lot of lights that we look forward to. Uh, there's this one company who donated a light set where it's a bunch of penguins having a snowball fight. There's a hospital that made a hospital building and it showed Santa going through the windows and eventually flying out.
Hmm.
There's it, it's something really cool. I love this tradition and I hope this continues in the future.
Yeah, yeah. I remember doing it one year. I think it was like a couple of years ago. We did it with my nieces and nephews. I
Hmm.
can't remember when we did it during Christmas time. I think it was before Christmas, um, but that was a lot of fun. All right. So my dad, for those that don't know, is a financial planner, and he has been for over, I want to say over 20 years, at least a little bit longer than I've been alive. Um, so might be around 30. But but my dad has had really great clients throughout the years, and my dad does a lot for his clients as well. But one of those clients, for as long as I can remember, and I really do say for as long as I can remember, because it's become a yearly tradition at this point. One of my dad's clients comes in and he makes Christmas cookies with his daughters. Um, Now these Christmas cookies are like stacked. Like he brings in like 4 or 5 plates of Christmas cookies,
Oh
maybe
man.
sometimes three. But like, no, it is a lot of cookies, and it's not all just like generic Christmas stuff either. There is a very wide variety of stuff, ranging from your typical shortbread cookies with the frosting on them, with shapes like a Santa or a Christmas tree or a snowman, to like macaroons,
Hmm.
um, and different kinds of like chocolate candies and um, cookies with like the dough and the chocolate kiss chocolates on them. Uh,
Hmm.
there's just so much there. Oh, and the jelly ones. They're the jelly cookies too, where they put like jelly on top of it.
Ooh.
But like yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff. And when my family, when I used to believe in Santa Claus, I would always have those cookies uh put on Santa's plate.
Hmm.
Um, and it's always been a ton of fun, because I'm sure the guy that makes it with his daughters, they all have a fun time like creating those cookies. And it's because of that that my mom has never made cookies for Christmas, because once she started getting those, there's no need for it.
That is true.
And there's always extras, and they're always used for when we have our own Christmas family get-togethers, and it's a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So I think before I continue on with the timeline, I want to first talk about I want to talk about a few things that I either watch or read, but
Hmm.
before Christmas, because for a lot of you who don't know, I'm
Hmm.
a bit I'm a big reader, although in recent years I haven't read as much, but I love to read and I love watching movies.
Hmm.
So, other than A Christmas Story, every year I try to watch a different Christmas Carol movie. I mean, I always end up watching A Muppet's Christmas Carol as well, because it's
Yes.
the best one. Recently I've been trying to watch that new animated one that came out on Netflix a couple years ago. It was like Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, but that's just because it has really good music.
Hmm.
Like I said, every year I try watching a different Christmas Carol around Christmas time.
Yeah.
I know I last year was kind of like a stretch, but last year I watched The Night Before, which had a guy who the main characters went to, and that he technically did past, present, and future just at different times. The year
Yeah.
before that was a movie called A Christmas Karen, which is just as how you would think it would be. And then
That's
before that,
awesome.
yeah, and then the year before that was Scrooged, the one with Bill Murray.
Hmm.
And I think the year I started it, like that year I started it, I watched different one or a bunch of different ones. I think the one that stood out for me that year was the Ghosts of Girlfriends Past with Matthew McConaughey. So,
Wow.
but like I said, every year I gotta watch at least one Christmas Carol other than the Muppets Christmas Carol. Gotta
Yeah.
watch it, Muppets Christmas Carol. Again, A Christmas Story. That is a yearly tradition. And then
Hmm.
when it comes to books, the only book I have to read every year, which makes it a lot easier for me being a teacher, is The Polar Express.
Yes.
That is an iconic book.
Yes.
I started reading it in elementary school, and every year I always try to find either online or, just if I'm sitting in a library, I always try to find a physical copy of that book just to read through at least once because that's the big Christmas book for me, other than A Christmas Carol. Can't go wrong
Yeah.
with A Christmas Carol.
No, I am gonna piggyback off of what you were just talking about. So, um, if you watched our video on top 10 favorite movies, one of Xavier's favorite is A Muppet Christmas Carol, if I can remember. Well,
No,
that just
I
so
believe
happens
so.
to be that just so happens to be one of my dad's favorite movies, and it has become a yearly Christmas tradition. Um, but since you mentioned, watching different types of Christmas carols, I should probably start doing that too. In fact,
Hmm.
I watched a different version of A Christmas Carol recently that I shared with Xavier. It's a comedy skit of A
Hmm.
Christmas Carol done by BBC Productions, and it's super funny.
I
I
I still have to try to find that one because that's the alternate Christmas Carol I'm planning on watching this year.
Yeah, it's so funny. Me and my parents, we were laughing our butts off. It was so funny. Like, oh man, basically, so it's called A Christmas Carol Gone Wrong, and it's exactly how it sounds. Like words can't describe like how funny that version of A Christmas Carol is. The other one that I am familiar with, although I need to rewatch it because it's been some time, but the Looney Tunes one called Baham Duck. Um,
Oh, I keep forgetting about that one.
yeah, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's going to be kind of relevant to next week's episode, which we'll be talking about. But that's one that I'll need to be rewatched because I only vaguely remember it. Um, Now, even though this isn't a yearly tradition, I've watched A Christmas Story recently. I say a couple of years ago. That was my first time watching it, and I very much enjoy that movie. It's a lot of fun. Um, but the other ones that I've grown up watching, um, not exactly yearly tradition, but I used to watch them a lot as a kid, and I'll probably rewatch them again. But as a kid, I grew up with Veggie Tales. That was like my thing as a kid. I loved the music. I loved uh, the animation and the art style and just the different wacky scenarios based on like biblical references or just based on different uh, popular properties.
Mhm.
Um, but there's two Christmas specials that I always like to go back to. The very first one, which is called A Toy Saved Christmas, and then the second one, A Star of Christmas. So the first one came out, I think it was either 1996. I think it might have been 96, 96 or 95. I can't remember. But basically the premise is just like uh, there's this um, there's this toy uh, called Buzzsaw Louie, and among a million other Buzzsaw Louies that are supposed to be shipped. But he wakes up and he's sentient now, and he he's sad because he doesn't know what the true meaning of Christmas is, and all of the other kids are just wanting like the toy, even though that's like, not the true meaning of Christmas. So he goes to discover it. The music is great. The silly song that accompanies that episode, "Oh Santa," is so funny. Um, and you don't even need to watch the episode to enjoy the silly song. It's so great. Um, and then the other one, "A Star of Christmas." I like that one more because it tackles a very mature subject. So this is actually based around A Christmas Carol because it follows uh, Nebuchadnezzar as Ebenezer Scrooge, except he rarely appears in the movie, but instead it features Bob and Larry as these other two characters trying to figure out their names. But they're basically helpers uh, for Mr. Nezzer. And they're trying to put on this Christmas play about the true meaning of Christmas, and it's all about the lights and the decorations and the spectacle. And they're trying to get it together, and but news goes around that like, oh, people are wanting to go see a little nativity church play because the Star of Christmas, which is like an ancient artifact for their version of London, hasn't been seen in like hundreds of years. So they're like, they go from, oh, let's add more lights to, okay, let's actually try and steal the Star of Christmas. And it goes horribly wrong. Um, and not to spoil the ending, but they tackle a subject matter of where they encounter somebody in that episode where he basically has does a commentary dump about how like Christmas shouldn't be all about the decorations, and that seems to be what people are just that's all they care about is all the spectacle and whatnot, and not about the real meaning behind it. And that there are people out there that don't have like happiness in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, uh, those ones are stick by me a lot.
All right. All right. All right. I'm trying to think. Oh, I just got the 10-minute warning, so I
Mhm.
think two more traditions each.
Sure.
All right. So I guess continuing to go back in time. once, and this is going back to my grandparents, you know how I said I had something that's also a tradition, but we kind of, or I wanted to wait until later because it's more of an throughout the December thing.
Mm-hmm.
So once my uncle puts up the Christmas tree and the lights with my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
and once he hangs up these ornaments, he has these two little tinsel balls.
Mm-hmm.
And every day when one of us, like whenever we visit, he has someone new throw those tinsel balls up in the tree to see if it sticks. I'm not sure what the full relevance of it was, but it's something really fun. It was, I don't know, it was like a little challenge for me and my sister because it's like, okay, who's gonna get it? You're getting it? Okay, are you gonna stick it or will I eventually get it? You know, that's just been something that's been going on for years. It's again, it's something small, but it's something that, I love doing every year.
All right. So I don't remember when my parents started holding Christmas parties at our own place. It definitely started once, our family was getting bigger and my mom's parents were getting older. I mean, my grandpa passed away like 12 years ago, and like I said, my grandma was still alive, but she's still she's not as capable as she used to be when it comes to like putting that type of stuff together. So although we've transferred from doing the Christmas party at our house to doing it at the um elderly care facility that she's in, which is really great. Um, you might know which one I'm talking about, the one that's across the street from Central Church of Christ.
Yep, I know the one.
Yeah, yeah, very great place, great people there. But we've been using that space for a few years now, and it's great. Um, But even before that, one of the things because our family was getting bigger, but also like me and my cousins were getting older, the whole family decided that we should start doing a white elephant gift. Um, and it has become some of the most fun memories to accompany it. Because basically, the concept is that whoever has the white elephant has to come up with a game to get that elephant. Um, Whoever wins the elephant puts on like a new accessory with it. But they also have to come up with a game or some type of thing where they have to steal someone else's present or get a chance to open the white elephant. And there were two instances that I remember. So when my brother-in-law, one of my sister's husbands, um, when he got the white elephant, he decided to do Rock'em Sock'em Robots to compete for like the white elephant gift. Like simple, but it was pretty fun.
Hmm.
But last year, I remember this very clearly. My cousin, my younger cousin, uh, when he got the white elephant, he did two things. He did the elephant, the elephant stuff where they like shoot the butterflies out. He
Hmm.
did that catching a mini game. Whoever got the most butterflies got to steal the gift. But on top of that, instead of putting the white elephant in the bag like everyone else did, he decided he pulled the boldest move out there. He did not put the white elephant in the bag. He just put a note saying that they got the white elephant and he straight up gave it to them. Because he noticed how people were picking like the larger gifts because the white elephant is kind of like the average stuffed teddy bear size. People were trying to pick like the larger gifts so that way they would get the white elephant or get a chance to get the white elephant. He
Right.
decided to put the note in a smaller bag so that way people wouldn't intentionally grab it.
Oh, that is something someone from my family would do.
Yeah, but
I can't
it's
even
real,
pick a person. It's something that a lot of people would do in my family.
but it's really great. It's really fun.
Mhm.
And we're going to be doing it again this year. This would be our 6th year doing it. So yeah,
Okay.
it'll be fun.
All right. So my last tradition I'm gonna bring up, every
Hmm.
year my family puts these or sets up these Christmas lists to send it to everyone in the family.
Hmm.
And we always start it, not necessarily Christmas, but we start it around Thanksgiving so that whoever goes to whoever goes to Black Friday shopping, they can go and search. And I know when, at least the earliest I can think of, it used to be my sister and I, we would be given one of those catalog books and just circle like
Hmm.
toys, books, movies that we want. Well, as time has gone on, we've gone to writing lists, and because of how long some lists have become and how hard some handwriting has become,
Yeah.
I now have it where all of the lists are in my Google Drive. So every
Hmm.
year we will come back to it and we will make our make our edits to it. Like the stuff that's on every year, we leave that. We if we have any books, we're like, okay, what books do we get? What books do we still need? We edit that.
Hmm.
Like I said, it's something a little easier. It's a little more entertaining because now instead of having it where we make the lists on our own, it becomes more of a family thing where now we're all together, we're brainstorming ideas, we're talking about these things that we want. Mm. So that's my last tradition. It's my family coming together to make Christmas lists.
So this is throughout like the month of December and going past January, because for those that don't know, Christmas actually ends on the Feast of the Three Kings, which is somewhere in January. I think it's like January 8th. Don't quote me on that though. But Christmas season extends a little bit longer than you think it does. The only reason we think it's longer is because people and from bigger companies want to extend Christmas as early as October, which is too long. It's too long.
Hmm.
Just December and past January is all you need.
Right.
Um, but um, but something this this will become hopefully a video of its own one of these days. But my mom uh puts up a nativity scene every year. Which Xavier, I believe you've seen it, right?
I've seen it quite a few times, and it is one of the biggest nativity scenes that I have ever seen.
Yes. Again, there's too much history to go over in this short video, but to briefly cover it, so it's carved all of olive wood, um, by my great great grandfather from Germany. Uh, he carved it while he was in Germany, and it was displayed in a museum for a while. And then during World War II, which for those that don't know, during that time, the Nazis were destroying pieces of artwork. Um, so a lot of it was buried underground during a good chunk of World War II. And there's actually a really great documentary series, Monument Men, that goes over that. But the nativity scene was buried in two chests. They were buried underground until the end of World War II, where my great grandmother and her daughter, one of her daughters, actually one of them was my grandma, they decided to get the chests, take them back to the United States, clean the pieces, put a new coating on them, and my great uncle happened to be a great wood.
Okay, and we are back. Sorry we kind of cut Jake off. I'm gonna fix that issue sometime soon. But so Jake, back to your uncle.
So, my my great great grandfather, he taught all of his kids wood carving, and my uncle was one of them. Because like some of the pieces did get damaged over the course of the years. There were like worms that have like destroyed some of the pieces. So he made some new pieces for that. Which like it's hard to tell with all the other ones because they were carved using the same wood. Um, but like it's very great. Now, this isn't your like hand-me-down nativity scene that's like small and has like the birth of Jesus and the three wise men and the shepherds. No, this is a nativity that got juiced with steroids.
Hmm.
Like there is so much stuff from like the camels and the elephants, like all sorts of different animals, all sorts of different people, some of which are based around people from the Old Testament. Um, but like and angels too, some of which are propped on like the ceiling. Uh, there was a painting that accompanied that nativity scene, which my mom has also kept. That was actually painted by my grandma. So, because my mom's side of the family, they're very artistic, um, in more ways than one. But yeah, it's become a family, not just a family tradition, but just a tradition in general. Because my mom puts it up early every December because one of the things that my great aunts did when they owned the nativity is they let kids from school come and take a look at the nativity scene and they explain the history. And my mom has carried that tradition. She still carries the same chests that were the pieces were buried during Germany.
Hmm.
She has a lot of the same pieces displayed on the cabinet that we have in our living room. And yeah, and she also has an album accompanying all the descriptions of the pieces, you know, and the history behind it. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. And so I'm so glad that like we were still able to keep it because it's just amazing. And like sure, maybe it can be displayed on a museum, but like you can't pay that price for something that might as well be considered a family heirloom at this point. But
Right.
like it's just a very wonderful thing, and to have it be displayed at our house is just a really cool thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are all of our Christmas family traditions.
Or at least all the ones that we're able to share right now. I'm sure both of
Mhm.
us have a couple more, but for now, this will be the end of this video. And like I said,
Mhm.
next week we should be very excited because well, Jake's got a really, really wonderful topic. I can't wait for everyone to listen to it. But that's for next week. Till then, I'm Xavier Dean,
I'm Jacob Green.
wishing you a wonderful night and fingers crossed, we all remember the true meaning of Christmas before next week.
Yeah, and the true meaning has to do with White Christmas.
That was a good movie. That
Well, I'm
was...
talking about White Christmas in terms of the snow. It is snowing hard right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Like honestly, if I weren't in a room with no windows, I would show you guys what it's doing outside. But have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week.